Lois.
Bonsoir. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
How are you guys?
Great.
It's amazing. What a week with the AI Action Summit in France.
Yeah,
Paris is a
Yeah.
place to be.
apparently. I even had FOMO.
We
I'm like, I wish I was there.
we will also have some billion of investment, less than Stargate, but a bit.
Well, don't you already have a lot of power plants to choose from there? So I think like nuclear power plants. So you have to head start actually. I think.
You do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good luck. I think it was 200 billion was the number.
3 to 15 from the South Arabia that choose to invest in Europe, and we have also investment from the French government and also investment from the European Union. So that is quite good because, as our French president said, we can regulate, but if we have no investment, we will have nothing to regulate. So that would be bad.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then our new vice president came over and gave you guys an earful about regulations. So that was funny to watch. I'm like, okay. But you know,
I
I
think
mean,
it's
it is
only
what it is.
US and UK that didn't sign the agreement.
Which agreement was that?
On the AI policy for AI development policy, just best practices to use AI in the world, I
Yeah,
guess.
we're different.
But we are in a race on AI, so that's part of the game. Either you choose to lead the race and be the fastest, and regulation and will slow you down, or either you choose to have a more sustainable approach. So I think the takeaway is this is the main difference. But at the end, I think everyone agreed on the fact that it's like if you look at the AI as a Maslow pyramid, the basis is the energy. That's really something important to get energy and to be fueled with energy, and nuclear energy is part of the game. And the second thing is to have investment. Without investment, no foundations model, no AI application.
Yeah. Well,
I
and
think
we're
we
going to talk
agree
about,
on.
well, yeah, I think so. And then, you know, you need the talent pool as well and all that stuff. And I think Paris and France is a good talent pool. Europe's got a lot of good talent as well. Hopefully, it can be utilized more wisely. That's my American view. But speaking of doing things with AI, y'all wrote an article recently, and maybe I can share it real quick. And it was a good article. It was a really good article. But I think I would like to talk about this because I feel it's oh, and of course I can't open it because my Riverside app won't let me open it. Great. So maybe you guys can share the article on the screen here. But if you were to summarize your article, how would you describe it? It's called AI and Product: Two Development Cycles to Unify.
Yeah, I think the starting point is really we. So I think a lot of people that are gonna listen to us are people that are doing AI for a decade, many years, or some of them more recently. But I think what is the big shift is, okay, we have foundation models, transformer, and this is a big change. But I think the biggest challenge for us today is the booming we will have in building AI application. And so what is really changing is the people we interact with. And the people we will interact more and more are product managers, also engineers, and the need to craft together AI application will be mandatory. The starting point of the article is we have really different cycle. A product has a product cycle to ship features and to build products. And in data, we have another data cycle that is quite different. And I think the two elements that are interesting maybe to focus about, the first one is the discovery. Just the word discovery. Discovery means totally different thing. For product manager, is really the activity of discovering the user needs, having interviews, looking at analytics flow on the interface, maybe session recording. And this is really their starting point, what they call the discovery. And at the end of the discovery, they're like, okay, I have an idea of the problem. I have the idea of the business opportunity. And then I can prioritize and decide and start to discuss with engineering. But I know this is something I want to do. And in the data cycle, the starting point is quite very different. We are like, discovery means data discovery. Just we have to dive into the data to understand the user, to understand if we have pattern, if we have segments, and if we have absolutely no pattern, we can't do anything. The second thing is with GenAI, it's also different, this data discovery, because we start with a prompt. So I think we have these two starting points that are very different. And what you will read in the article is the first step is how we can do this discovery phase together. And we realize that we have one activity in the discovery that has to be common. It's this data discovery that can be done by a product manager. He can do a prompt. He can go on Hugging Face. He can just try a model, see if it's getting a good result. Data guys and data folks, what we have to do is also be able to run some small POC, just assessing if we have a pattern in the data, maybe in few hours, maybe in few days, to see what can be the level expected of accuracy for a first iteration, even before thinking about the complex algorithm or even before thinking fine-tuning foundations models. And that's part of the way. So what we propose is just for this step, bridge the gap and saying, okay, we have just a common discovery activity where data discovery means a different thing for product people. And the challenge for us as data folks will be like time box these discovery phases.
Yeah.
That is quite a challenge, or maybe not even do it with GenAI.
What's funny, I guess, it's not a new problem. I mean, we've been managing with data lifecycle or traditional machine learning life cycles for years now, and the problem is still there. It's hard. It's not the same lifetime and life cycle on how do we build a product and how do we manage a data or machine learning life cycle. But now that we want to put AI in every one of our features in the user experience, etc., it accelerates the need to collaborate more faster and we can't wait until the data and AI team is done with his recommender system or his AI feature to put in the product. We can't wait anymore, like 6 weeks, 6 months. So we want to, we need to bridge those life cycles very closely and be able to prototype really fast, getting ideas about the feasibility of an AI feature, whether it is ML or Gen AI. And we face strong problems because those teams share no common vocabulary. They have no common ceremonies or life cycle, etc. So now we face more and more this kind of issue. So yeah, it really comes down to few, I guess, simple questions and interactions. We are not talking about reorganizing the companies and putting everybody together in the same place every time, but what are the kind of questions we have to ask and answer as a data team, as a product team, as soon as possible, and end with endless proof of concepts, that just to be sure that we have like 98% accuracy on our model. Maybe we just need 80%. We have to put it in the end-to-end workflow of a product to just be sure we're bringing value.
So are you saying that product people and data and AI people think differently, talk differently,
Yeah.
behave differently?
Yeah, I think everything. So,
Yeah.
so if we have to consider what is different, I think so. It depends also of the organization of everyone, because if you are in the safe mode, that is going to be really complicated, because iterate on a model every 2 weeks and give visibility. I know a lot of folks that are in company in a safe mode and they say, I've delivered nothing. I've delivered nothing. I've delivered nothing every 2 weeks. And at the end, they say, okay, let's do a retro and discuss why you have delivered nothing. No, guys, the problem is not there. So I think the first thing is be very cool. It's quite new. We want to do it fast. And I think pragmatically, it's different vocabulary, different expertise, different timeline. If you are in safe, it will be even more complicated. And what we propose in the article is to to break it down very easily, the first step is discovery. What does it mean? What are the activities that are done by the product people? What are the activities done by the data folks? And the answer we will have to provide as data people is able to bring a gap of performance to solve this problem compared to a traditional engineering one? Okay, that's basically the question everyone expects from us at this stage. So if today you already have a product, if today the user is spending, 15 minutes doing that, the question is, with AI compared to traditional engineering, would you be able to break it down by what? 10, 20, 50, 90%? If it's okay, and after, do you have different options of models, and what are the one we can start with? Okay, maybe we have a first version that helped to decrease of 20%. That's just amazing. 20% of time saved, it's conversion higher, it's lower cost. Let's try with that. But in the second step, we have all to do the build the architecture that make this first version of model ready to go into production. We have to define also what are the product requirements, but most importantly, we have to define the design of the user interface. And if you have, a model that is just anomaly detection, basically you have the same reference of the product, you want to detect a price anomaly, that's quite easy. You are quite sure about that stuff with the first version of model. And so you can just put a warning, but that would be very important. Is it in red? Do you want the user to understand it? And do you want to block the product? Do you want to just show that as an alert? Does it have a value for the second stage of the algorithm that the user is saying, this is not an anomaly? And that is good, important question that make two different people discuss together, that are design and data. And the designer will have to understand in a way the model to understand how to build a relevant UI, yes, but how to build a relevant UX, because it's design of information, and how do they design this information we are bringing to the user. That's quite tricky, and that is maybe even as important, even more important than the performance of the algorithm in itself. Then after, I would say the easiest part is the development, because we could consider everyone is developing. Maybe we will have waste of time, someone ready than the other, but we are get used to that. That's quite easy. And after, I think the biggest part is coming to when we release the first version into production. When do we consider it's done? When do we consider we have solved the user problem? That's quite a big part. We were discussing it with Yoann also on that. The continuous improvement and the measurement of the value is challenging. I don't know if Yoann, you want to
because
talk a little
it's never
more.
done. It's never done.
Mm-hmm.
An AI algorithm is never perfect. It will never be deterministic. So you have to deal with it in the UI UX step. But more than that, as you may all know, an AI model just decreases its performance over time. So it's not just I've trained once, it's good. It's not like in software engineering, once you've put it in production, normally it should stay stable in time.
Yeah.
You can
It will
say
not.
next
It will
feature.
not. Yeah, next feature.
Yeah.
There's no done in AI. So for product managers, for product teams, it's hard to first understand that and feel it, and us as data AI builders, we have to acknowledge the fact that okay, it's okay to not achieve like perfect model performance, but if we're bringing value, that's fine, and we will have to iterate on it one way or another. And sometimes it's not the AI model that we need to improve; it's the UX,
Just the
it's the
design.
data
Yeah.
source.
Yeah, that brings up a good question, because it's this is actually something I've been thinking a lot about, especially when you're talking about the data discovery part and figuring out how is this going to work. I think it's very similar to when you're trying to think of a data model, for example, in analytics, where there's like, what's the data? What does it mean? What are we trying to do with it? There's a lot of parallels with the data for ML. And I never felt like these neatly fit into sprints, for example, where the end of 2 weeks, you're going to have determined everything you need to know about the, because it's, as you point out, it's not like a software feature, right? This isn't just adding a button or some sort of widget to an
Mm-mm.
app. There's a lot more complexity to this and a lot more thinking, to be fair. I think and a lot more, thinking is one of these things where I think it's incredibly underrated, but we
Yeah.
all get paid to do it. But then again, the way a lot of projects are set up, at least in the States, it's well, what are you going to get done over the next 2-3 weeks? What's your burn down chart look like? How many points is this worth? And so that's the other part
This,
of the thinking, that it's like, this is, it
Yeah.
seems like a very artificial boundaries for the type of work you're describing, where it actually
So
doesn't end.
that's a thing readers can read in a few months in our book, because this is very interesting. This is a pattern, and often I'm looking at a matrix that is doing the right thing or doing it right, and people most of the time they feel safe or sprints very comfortable because you make something predictable. And the true nature of AI is it's not predictable. And you're trying to put something predictable, not predictable, in sprints. But why do we want to do that? Because we are more looking to do it the right way. We follow the process. We have everything documenting. It's the right way, rather than to doing the right thing, creating the value. And you, that's more important. And after, if we learn to create value and the right value, maybe we do it wrong. That's not so much important. But by repeating it, we will do that even better. And I think no one has the true answer, but I think trying to follow the same methodology as it's in engineering is not looking at the relevant thing. It's
Mm.
trying to do it right. You follow the process. No, we have to break the process, let people craft together, and we will see when it comes.
but just to be really clear on one point, having this unpredictability regarding data and AI doesn't mean that we have to wait 6 months until seeing what happens, because this is the other part of the medal, that
That's the
since it's
extreme
unpredictable,
opposite.
I'm a former data scientist. I used to trap a lot of product managers because it's complicated. We don't know, so I need one more sprint to just
Yeah.
explore the data. But don't fall in that. I mean, in constraints come creativity. So if you think you need 1 month to create one model, try 2 days, just 2 days. What can you come up after 2 days? And maybe you will achieve 80% of the value you wanted to achieve, and it will be okay. So, yeah, don't try to fit squares into circles like burn charts and story points and etc. But that doesn't mean that it's complete chaos. We need to
Sure.
be really clear on what is the question and the hypothesis we want to experiment on, set some constraint, specific amount of time,
And
and we
time to
just see
value.
if we learn something, if we can iterate. Time
Time
to
to
value
value.
is, yeah, it's
Yeah.
exactly that. Because, and I've seen teams that work fine on 2 week sprints, etc. But that's not because they followed exactly the by the book process, but that's because they used, I don't know, 2 days spikes on exploratory analysis. Some things in data engineering are more deterministic. So yes, it can be on
Yeah.
story points, etc. But don't fit squares into circles.
Well, I also think it's important for the product manager to understand the data and AA part. I think a lot of product managers I've seen come from software engineering, which is not the same. And I think the first thing, I mean, the worst I saw it was I actually worked with a product manager who did not understand data at all. It got so bad, I ended up just ignoring this product manager. And I told him, don't talk to me, don't talk to my team. You're going to introduce a lot of things that are going to complicate everything. And it was a poisonous relationship. This person ended up leaving the company
Mm.
for a lot of other reasons, pissed off the engineering team too. But I just had to put my foot down. I was like, until you're going to take the time to understand what we do and why we
Yeah.
do what we do, please don't interfere with the work we're doing. I hate to be that guy, but you're slowing us down. And so it works the other way too.
So
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
that's why That's
Yeah.
why, I mean, for me, it all starts with creating a common language and building empathy with each other, because otherwise you fall into the us versus them syndrome. They don't understand us. We don't understand them. Just let us do our thing and things will be fine. And this is how we continue with big silos, and we do need some product mindset in data and AI and reversely.
Yeah,
Anne?
and the other way around. But what I touched also very recently is that I thought that most of the time we were really sometimes too oriented on the output. Oh, I had this algorithm.
Yeah.
That's great. Look at my accuracy. That's super great. And more looking at that as the value. So if we are concluding with the end of the cycle, that's good. Job done. And the best product manager are looking at the outcome. So they are trying to define what is the value reached and what it is. And I've touched very recently very tricky situation where we are like, maybe that is not the value we thought we were clear on the value, but we are not. And with GenAI, it's super complicated. Just consider the most common use case everyone has on GenAI, that is the customer support. Okay, you can always say, I want that the user get an answer 24/7. Okay. You can say, okay, I want that they get an answer once and done. Or I can want all these small tickets answered automatically without any work content. But at the end, sometimes you're like, okay, once and done. I just what does it mean once and done? How do we know the value needed to have a once and done from the user? You can reach someone of the customer support. You can ask as many people in the customer service or customer support team, you will get an answer. You say, it's because when I'm able to have empathy with them, this is the way I answer. I put the link to the documentation. You have the one that I'm following the process. If I answer fast, I won't get other answers. So maybe it's a mix of everything, but trying to consider what is the value from the user. Most of the time, it's the human that knows it. They don't know really. So that's why we have so much frustration with the first release, so much iteration, because most of the time, whatever we call it, the business process or the true understanding of the value and the emotion the user want to have, we just don't know. That's fine. We will do experimentation. So the way we encourage with Yoann to move on is to say, this is the outcome we want to reach. Answer 24/7, this thing, and maybe do not decrease the number of once and done. Okay, let's go. First experimentation, this algorithm, this side effect. Second experimentation, this is better. And all this experimentation will get us closer to the true value and emotion from the user. Just the reality today, we don't know, but by iterating, we will get it closer. But that's
Awesome.
funny because you discover that you just don't know. Everything is going to be fine. So I think the key is
But
seeing more the iteration as experimentation. And when you look at that, that's quite cool.
It is.
it is
Yeah.
hard actually, because it's a mentality shift, because as data scientists, ML engineers, etc., we are driven by the perfect solution, the perfect accuracy of our algorithm. So it's hard to switch from that to value, user value, etc. It's not the same wiring in our heads, and being okay with 80% versus 98% on the first iteration. Sometimes you need to put your ego back and be proud with the value that you brought, even if your algorithm is not perfect as you would have.
Yeah. I mean, it's not perfect yet, right? But you can make it.
Yeah. But what's a perfect algorithm that is never used because it's the wrong problem? It's staying in the closet.
But a good exercise for people that want to get out of their comfort zone would be, most of the time, as Yoann was saying, the reality is we follow our emotion. Oh, it's sexy, it's perfect, whatever our own drivers are, or the driver of our manager is. But the thing is, what is the emotion the user wants to have when he's using the product? And trying to frame it that way, I want that it's simple, it's fast, but if I don't understand, I would not follow it, whatever it is, and try to get closer to the emotion. That's kind of weird for a Friday evening on the Valentine's Day, but
That's very philosophical.
really the emotion, and I really think about and set up as the level you want to reach the product that really you're like, oh, that's the best product, that's the latest best experience, and try to do this exercise about why. So for me, the best product I've experimented recently was Revolut. That is a bank, and with the mobile app, so cool. I had a problem with my credit card before traveling to the US to meet you, Joe, for the Data Day Texas.
Yes.
And I was able, just with my mobile app, with a picture of my identity card, to open an account in 5 minutes, and 10 minutes after,
Wow.
I was able to credit it. And I was like, for me, make my life easy is the best emotion you can
For
give
sure.
to
I bet
me.
you, part of you was kind of, I bet, wondering, like, did I just get scammed? Like, is this a real thing? It seems too easy.
I had almost
quick.
a doubt. That was
Yeah, like,
almost
you're
whoa.
good.
This is too easy.
Yeah, but I think what you hit on is important, though, because in this, with AI powered products becoming more and more common, the experience is expected to feel magical. We don't want the same, clunky experiences we've had with applications. That those days are gone. Increasingly, it's what you said. It's like, it just feels like it works. Like, Yoann just got AirPods and an Apple phone, or an iPhone, right? So it's like, but the experience using AirPods, it's usually magical. You just put them in and it works. You go to your computer, start working on the AirPods, work on that, and it's great. Like, I can't live without them. I'm an idiot. So
But sometimes the emotion that is very important is to answer to the emotion that I think I'm gonna get scammed. When you sell your car, for example, when people give you a price, you're like, I'm sure I'm gonna get scammed. He will give me a bad price. You don't trust him. So the emotion you want to provide is the price, if it's powered with AI, whatever it is. But I give you the reassurance on the fact that I rely on fact, that you can trust me. So, for example, if your API is too fast and you answer super fast with just a price, people are like, I'm sure I'm going to get scammed. That's too easy. I want to negotiate. I want to see someone, because if I see someone, I can negotiate, and I'm sure I will not get a bad price. But maybe the emotion is that one. This is the one you want to solve. And you can put facts. You can put sometimes or an animation. Do not process the price too fast. Maybe wait 4 seconds is better, because they think, whoa, the computation is difficult. So these are all the things that you cannot just answer when you are doing your super great random forest models and you have 201. You have to just collaborate with others, because as a ML engineer, you just don't know. You can say, we can put a magic wand. No, that's not maybe the good answer. And the designer, they have to understand the algorithm to know what's behind.
Well, it makes me wonder what the agent, if there's going to be a thing called like agent experience too, where agents working with each other will have similar experiences. Like, that happened too fast. I don't believe that's the answer, right? And so it's maybe something to think about. I don't know, but it's interesting.
Maybe,
the bar's getting raised.
Maybe you will have to put in your prompt the fact that he has to feel an emotion, and if you don't trust the previous agent, that's not good. He should negotiate. I don't know.
Take your agent to lunch. Buy it flowers. Well, thanks for
I had
a
special T-shirt for you
Amour?
today.
So I was
I
see
in English.
Amour?
It's love.
Yeah.
So it's a special T-shirt for Valentine's Day. I know you like special T-shirts, Joe. So I bring one.
I Mr. Special T-shirt. Yeah, and you're in the city of love, Paris. So I love that city. So much fun. Hopefully get back there soon. Anyway,
whenever you want. You're welcome.
Thank you. Well, thanks for the fun chat. I'll put a link to the article in the show notes. I'll actually put this in my newsletter. This will be the main topic for the newsletter this weekend. So yeah, merci. So
Merci beaucoup.
yeah, merci beaucoup. Yeah, but yeah, have a good night. I hope you. I know it's getting kind of later-ish there, and I'm sure you have better things to do than hang out with me during the evening. So yeah, but it's great seeing you all.
Valentine's Day with Joe Rice is perfect.
What more can you ask
Yeah,
for?
Valentine's with Joe Rice can be the
Yeah.
title
Okay.
of the podcast.
Oh dear. Yeah, cool. Well, thank you. Just be sure and stay on for a second. Make sure your audio uploads. We'll end the recording. Thanks. All right. See you.
Thanks.